Europe is divided on Ukraine's future. Macron says several states are ready, from training to logistics to a presence in non-hot zones. London insists it is ready to put UK boots on the ground. But Warsaw refuses. There will not be any plans to send the Polish military. Security guarantees are promised, yet fractured. Can a divided Europe really stand in America's place? As discussions of a potential peace deal between Ukraine and Russia gain momentum, European nations are racing to finalize security guarantees that could fundamentally reshape the region's military landscape. Around 30 countries have been working since February as part of what's being called a coalition of the willing, with plans to deploy an international deterrent force at the center of these negotiations. French President Emmanuel Macron outlined the scope of this commitment.
We have consolidated it. Our Joint Chiefs of Staff have worked on it within the coalition of the willing. Several states are ready to do so, from training to logistics to a presence in non-hot zones, that is, not on the front lines, not in disputed territories, but to have an allied force presence alongside Ukraine. We will present this by also asking the United States to what extent it is prepared to join these, since they have been offered security guarantees and have reaffirmed this.
The urgency has intensified following President Donald Trump's clear position announced that the United States will not deploy ground troops. However, according to Bloomberg reporting, approximately 10 countries are prepared to contribute forces to this European-led initiative. Leading this effort are France and the United Kingdom, the co-chairs of the Coalition of the Willing. British Defence Secretary John Healey made Britain's position unambiguous last week, telling the BBC,
"We are ready to put UK boots on the ground in Ukraine in part to reassure Ukrainians."
Healey specified that the mission could encompass securing air and sea defence systems while training Ukrainian military forces. The commitment extends beyond Western Europe's major powers, though the politics of these security guarantees reveal significant tensions within the coalition. Belgium has signalled its readiness to participate, while Baltic nations Estonia and Lithuania have emerged as particularly vocal supporters. Dainius Zikevičius, an advisor to Lithuania's president, told the news outlet 15 minutes in an interview that the mission could mirror the former NATO operation in Afghanistan. Estonia's Prime Minister Kirsten Michal reaffirmed his country's willingness on August 22nd.
"Yes, we have decided in the government that we are ready to participate in the coalition of the willing, and the strongest contribution could be a company-sized unit. The exact allocation unit will be decided when the operational parameters will be clear. Right now, this coalition of the willing is led by UK and France, and it probably is like a foreign mission to military as we have had many missions before. And if there's exact parameters and the planning stage is done, there will be peace to watch in Ukraine."
Yet, beneath the surface unity, clear divisions have emerged over burden sharing and national priorities. Germany's Foreign Minister Johann Wadephul acknowledged that his country has little capacity to send troops, but would contribute other elements to security guarantees. Poland's position reflects deeper frustrations about regional security responsibilities. Poland's Deputy Prime Minister was even more direct, posting on X back in May that
"There are no and will be no plans to send troops to Ukraine. Poland is co-responsible for defending NATO's eastern flank and for providing logistical support to the attacked neighbor."
Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni similarly stated in March that sending Italian troops is not being planned. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky emphasized the critical nature of these arrangements during his White House visit, calling security guarantees the key issue, a starting point for ending the war. Zelensky said,
"We are already working on the concrete content of the security guarantees.
The path forward presents substantial challenges that extend far beyond political declarations. Military analysts point out that a comprehensive assurance force covering Ukraine's 1,000-kilometer front line would require well over 100,000 troops, representing a massive commitment for European armies that have contracted significantly since the Cold War ended. The International Institute for Strategic Studies notes in its analysis that
the force deployed would need to be credible to Moscow, and the coalition resolved to act decisively in the event of a breach of the ceasefire.
This creates a complex balance between deterrence effectiveness and practical deployment capabilities. A more realistic approach, according to military experts, might involve a deterrent force of approximately 10,000 troops positioned in Ukraine but away from frontline areas. The IISS assessment suggests
its deterrence effect on Russian forces would mostly be achieved by its very presence, since its capability for high-intensity combat operations would be limited.
President Trump's recent shift on American involvement represents a significant development. Previously dismissive of U.S. participation, Trump suggested on Truth Social.
During the meeting, we discussed security guarantees for Ukraine, which guarantees would be provided by the various European countries, with a coordination with the United States of America.
NATO. Secretary General Mark Rutte described this as a breakthrough during a Fox News interview, explaining that
the Russians were never going to take seriously the idea of a European assurance force without the U.S. underwriting it.
Italian Prime Minister Meloni has proposed an innovative mechanism to address decision-making delays. According to Bloomberg reporting from August 20th, she is advancing a framework requiring countries with bilateral agreements to confer and decide within 24 hours how to aid Ukraine if Russia resumes hostilities. Meloni explained her approach this week in Washington, stating,
"Clearly, there are no easy solutions when it comes to stopping a war, to build peace. I think we have to explore all possible solutions to guarantee peace, to guarantee justice, to guarantee the security of our nations. Italy bring all the contributions of ideas and proposals that it has already shown it can guarantee in recent months."
Russian opposition remains absolute. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova stated,
"Any scenario that envisages the appearance in Ukraine of a military contingent with the participation of NATO countries."
Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov added that discussing Ukrainian security guarantees without Russian participation was a path to nowhere. French President Macron emphasized the broader strategic vision, stressing Allied support for a robust Ukrainian army, one that can resist any attempted attack and deter it, and therefore no limitations in numbers, capabilities, or weapons. This comprehensive approach reflects the understanding that Ukraine's long-term security depends not just on international guarantees, but on building sustainable defensive capabilities. As these negotiations continue, the coming weeks will determine whether European nations can translate political commitments into concrete military arrangements that satisfy Ukrainian security needs while managing Russian objections and American concerns about escalation.